The tabloids called her a gold digger. The courts called her greedy. But Anna Nicole Smith was more than just a Playboy model who married an 89-year-old billionaire. She was a small-town girl who escaped poverty, fought a 15-year legal battle, all the way to the Supreme Court, and died before seeing a penny. Now, at 18, her daughter Dannielynn is finally revealing the mom behind the headlines and the creepy signs that prove Anna is still watching over her from beyond the grave. Anna Nicole Smith was born Vicki Lynn Hogan on November 28, 1967 in Houston, Texas. When she was less than 2 years old, her parents divorced. Her mother, Virgie Mae Hogan, raised her in Mexia, a small Texas town with about 6,000 people. Her father was absent for most of her life, and growing up wasn't easy. She struggled in school, both with her studies and fitting in. She started high school at Mexia High, but had a hard time keeping up. By 9th grade, she transferred to another school, but never made it past the 10th grade. Even as a teenager, she dreamed of more. She idolized Marilyn Monroe and wanted to be famous. But life was moving in a different direction. In 1982, at just 14 years old, she dropped out of school. She found work as a waitress at Jim's Crispy Fried Chicken in Mexia, trying to support herself. That job led her to Billy Wayne Smith, a 16-year-old fry cook. They became close fast, and by April 4th in 1985, when Anna was 17, they were married. A year later, on January 22nd, 1986, she gave birth to their son, Daniel Wayne Smith. Marriage didn't turn out the way she had hoped. Anna later said that Billy was controlling and jealous. He didn't want her going out or spending time with anyone else. By mid-1986, she had enough. She left Billy and moved to Houston with baby Daniel, trying to start over. She took whatever jobs she could find, working at Walmart and Red Lobster, but it wasn't enough to support them. Money was tight, and she struggled to get by. Out of options, she started working as a dancer at strip clubs. It wasn't what she had planned for her life, but it paid the bills. Then, in 1992, she made a bold move. She decided to take a chance and sent nude photos of herself to Playboy magazine. That gamble changed everything. Hugh Hefner and his team saw something special in her, and by March 1992, she was on the cover of Playboy. Her resemblance to Marilyn Monroe and her striking looks made her stand out. Just a year later, she was named Playmate of the Year in 1993, officially becoming one of the most recognized models in Playboy history. Her life changed almost overnight. Not long before, she had been working in fast food restaurants and strip clubs, struggling to make a living. Now she was being photographed for magazines and invited to exclusive events. Fame brought opportunities, but also meant constant media attention, something she would struggle with for the rest of her life. Later that year, in November 1992, Paul Marciano, the co-founder of Guess Jeans, offered her a major modeling contract. He saw the same star quality in her that had captivated Playboy's audience. At the time, she was still using her birth name, but Marciano suggested something new. Together, they created Anna Nicole, a name that would soon be known worldwide. Her first campaign for Guess Jeans was unforgettable. She became the new face of the brand, replacing supermodel Claudia Schiffer at a time when fashion was dominated by thin, waif-like models. Anna Nicole's curvy figure and Hollywood glamour brought something fresh to the industry. The black and white photos from the campaign, inspired by Jane Mansfield's iconic style, became instant classics. This success led to more work with international brands like H&M and Lane Bryant, making her name even bigger. With modeling, success came another opportunity: Hollywood. In 1994, she landed roles in 2 major films. She played Tanya Peters in Naked Gun 33 Wonder 3, The Final Insult, a comedy starring Leslie Nielsen. The movie did well, but her performance got mixed reviews, and she was even nominated for Worst New Star at the Golden Raspberry Awards. That same year, she had a smaller role in The Hudsucker Proxy, a film directed by the Coen brothers. It was critically praised, but her part was minor. Despite the criticism, Anna Nicole kept pushing forward. She wasn't just a model or an actress. She was becoming a brand. In 1993, she modeled for H&M, appearing on massive billboards across Sweden and Norway, and worked with Lane Bryant to challenge traditional beauty standards by proving that curvier models could also represent major fashion brands. Later in her career, she became the face of Trim Spa, a diet supplement company. The endorsement was controversial and led to legal issues, but kept her in the public eye. No matter what people said about her, she always found a way to stay relevant. In October 1991, Anna Nicole Smith met billionaire J. Howard Marshall II at Gigi's, a strip club in Houston. She was 24, struggling to make ends meet, and working the day shift because she was still new to dancing. At the time, she was far from the blonde bombshell she later became. Marshall was 86 and grieving. He had lost both his wife and his longtime mistress earlier that year. His driver suggested a night out to cheer him up, and that's where he first saw her. Anna, whose real name was Vicki Lynn Hogan, had grown up in Texas. She had dropped out of high school and worked different jobs to support herself and her son Daniel. She had been a waitress at Red Lobster and Jim's Crispy Fried Chicken, always dreaming of a better life. That night at Gigi's, she danced to Chris de Burgh's The Lady in Red, and something about her captivated Marshall. The next day, he invited her to lunch. Before she left, he handed her $1,000 and told her not to go back to the club. From that moment on, he showered her with expensive gifts. He bought her a red Mercedes and covered her in jewelry. Every month, he gave her $4,000 for what he called consulting. He asked her to marry him over and over again, but she didn't say yes right away. In 1992, she landed her first big modeling job posing for Playboy. The following year, she became Playmate of the Year. By then, her career was skyrocketing, but Marshall was still determined to make her his wife. On June 27, 1994, they finally got married at the White Dove Wedding Chapel in Houston. He was 89. She was 26. Only 11 people were there. Marshall sat in a wheelchair while Anna wore a satin gown with a plunging neckline. Her 8-year-old son served as the ring bearer. This was her second marriage. She had married Billy Wayne Smith at 17, but that relationship had ended years ago. For Marshall, this was his third marriage. His second wife had died of Alzheimer's in 1991 after 30 years of marriage. The wedding was over in minutes. Before the night ended, Anna left for a photo shoot while Marshall sat in his wheelchair crying. That image stuck in people's minds. To them, it was proof that this wasn't love. People believed she married him for one thing: money. Before the wedding, Marshall had already given her millions in gifts: houses, horses, diamonds, and Rolls Royces. Critics saw her as a gold digger. A federal judge later called their relationship a mix of need, greed, and lust. But Anna denied it. In a 2002 interview with Larry King, she said Marshall gave her something more valuable than money: love and respect. She also claimed she had turned him down many times before finally saying yes because she wanted to make it on her own first. But there was a problem. Even though Marshall had allegedly promised her half his fortune, he never put it in writing. His will didn't mention her at all. If she had married him for financial security, she was about to find out how wrong she was. On August 4th, 1995, just 14 months after their wedding, Marshall died at the age of 90. What followed was one of the longest and most bitter legal battles in history. Smith believed she was promised half of her late husband's fortune. J. Howard Marshall, a billionaire with a stake in Coke Industries worth $1.6 billion, had left her out of his will entirely. She said he had promised her a share in exchange for marriage, but his son E. Pierce Marshall denied it. He insisted the will was final and that she had no claim. Smith wasn't the only one fighting for a share of the estate. Another son, J. Howard Marshall III, had also been cut out of the will after trying to take control of Coke Industries. He claimed his father had made him the same verbal promise as Anna Nicole, but got nothing as well. In 1996, Smith ran into financial trouble when a court ordered her to pay $850,000 after losing a sexual harassment lawsuit filed by her son's former nanny. Unable to afford it, she filed for bankruptcy in California. Since any money she might win from Marshall's estate was now part of her assets, the bankruptcy court got involved, and then came a huge win for Anna Nicole Smith. In 2000, a Los Angeles bankruptcy judge awarded her nearly $450 million. The amount Marshall's Coke Industries shares had gained in value while they were married, but the victory didn't last long. He also ordered her to pay E. Pierce Marshall over $1 million in legal fees. Now, two different courts had made opposite rulings, which pushed the case into federal court. In 2002, a federal judge lowered her award to $88 million, but in 2004, a higher court threw that out, saying federal judges had no power to overrule a state probate court. The case had gone as far as it could, until the U.S. Supreme Court decided to step in. In 2006, the Supreme Court ruled in her favor. The decision, written by Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, didn't give her any money but confirmed that she could keep fighting in federal court. It was a step forward, but her battle was far from over. When the Anna Nicole Show premiered on August 4, 2002, it became an instant sensation. Audiences were drawn to the chaotic and unpredictable life of Anna Nicole Smith, the former Playboy model who had once been at the top but was now struggling. The show was the most watched program on E! During its first season, proving that people couldn't look away from the spectacle. It was funny at times, but it was also tragic. The series followed Smith as she tried to navigate her life after fame. She was dealing with financial troubles after spending lavishly for years, and was also locked in a legal battle over her late husband, J. Howard Marshall's estate. The show had bizarre moments that felt staged, like Smith attempting to fix her misbehaving dog or clashing with her eccentric interior decorator Bobby Trendy. But between the scripted chaos, there were real glimpses of pain. Her teenage son Daniel often appeared uncomfortable on camera, watching as his mother's life turned into a public spectacle. Critics hated the show. Jon Stewart called it an abomination, and many believed it was exploiting Smith's personal struggles. Viewers noticed her slurred speech and erratic behavior, leading to speculation that she was intoxicated during filming. Reports later suggested that producers encouraged her hyperactive personality by giving her large amounts of Red Bull. Instead of helping her, the show made her struggles worse. Despite the controversy, the Anna Nicole Show ran for 2 years, ending in 2004. By then, Smith had become a joke to many. Every move she made became tabloid material. At the 2004 MTV Video Music Awards, she stumbled onto the stage, slurred her words, and asked the audience if they liked her body. The moment was played for laughs, but it was clear she was struggling. Smith's battle with addiction had been well known even before the show. She had been taking prescription drugs like Valium and chloral hydrate, substances that would later contribute to her accidental overdose in 2007. Her mood swings and strange behavior were on full display. But instead of getting help, she was pushed further into the spotlight. Even her son Daniel looked embarrassed at times, caught in a reality show that was turning his mother's pain into entertainment. Anna Nicole Smith shared big news on June 1, 2006. In a video on her website, she announced that she was pregnant. A few months later, on September 7th, she gave birth to a daughter named Dannielynn in the Bahamas. Howard K. Stern claimed to be the father of Dannielynn. His name was even listed on the birth certificate in the Bahamas. However, celebrity photographer Larry Birkhead said that wasn't true and filed a lawsuit insisting that he was the real father. Things got even more complicated when 2 other men stepped forward. Zsa Zsa Gabor's husband, Frederick Prince Vaughn. Anhalt said he had been in a relationship with Smith for years and might be Dannylynn's father. Her former bodyguard and chef, Alexander Denk, also claimed he could be the father. As the paternity fight made headlines, new details about Smith's pregnancy raised questions. Reports revealed that while she was 8 months pregnant, she had been prescribed methadone under a fake name. The Medical Board of California opened an investigation, but the doctor who wrote the prescription defended his decision, saying the treatment was appropriate. A U.S. judge eventually stepped in and ordered DNA tests to find out the truth. But before the case could be resolved, tragedy struck again. On February 8, 2007, Smith was found unresponsive in a hotel room in Florida. She was rushed to the hospital, but it was too late. She had died from an overdose of prescription drugs. Birkhead's attorney immediately asked for an emergency DNA sample from her body, but the judge refused. The court ordered that her body be preserved until February 20th. Finally, in April 2007, the results came in. A Bahamian judge ruled that Larry Birkhead was Dannylynn's biological father. He immediately moved to amend her birth certificate and get a passport so he could take her to the United States. Stern did not fight the ruling, but there was one last challenge. Smith's mother, Virgie Arthur, tried to appeal the decision, hoping to take custody of her granddaughter. The court denied her request and even ordered her to pay legal fees. With the legal battles over, Birkhead brought Dannielynn home. The paternity case had been settled, but the damage was already done. 3 days after Anna Nicole Smith gave birth to her daughter on September 7, 2006, her world fell apart. On September 10th, her 20-year-old son Daniel Wayne Smith died while visiting her in the hospital. He had come to meet his newborn half-sister, but never left. An autopsy later confirmed he died from a mix of methadone and antidepressants. A Bahamian jury ruled it an accidental overdose, and a death certificate was issued on September 21st. No criminal charges were filed. On October 19th, he was buried at Lakeview Cemetery in New Providence. Anna was devastated. According to her attorney and close companion, Howard K. Stern, Daniel was the most important person in her life. She had raised him on her own and saw herself as both his mother and father. At his funeral, she had them open the coffin and tried to climb inside. She didn't want to let go. She said, "If Daniel has to be buried, I want to be buried with him." Stern later said that even though she physically died months later, she was already gone that day. Amid her grief, something unexpected happened. On September 28th, Anna and Stern held a private commitment ceremony in the Bahamas. They exchanged vows and rings before a Baptist minister, but it wasn't a legal marriage. There was no license, just a symbolic gesture. Some questioned the timing, but Anna's lawyer in Nassau later said they needed something to hold on to after everything they had been through. Ceremony photos were sold to People magazine for $1 million by then. Anna was staying in the Bahamas, and that decision led to even more controversy. Some believed she was avoiding a paternity test for her newborn daughter. Others thought she was trying to escape the chaos of her life in the U.S. In late 2006, Immigration Minister Shane Gibson granted her permanent residency. Soon after, a local newspaper published a photo of Anna lying in bed, fully clothed, in an embrace with Gibson. The public backlash was intense, and Gibson resigned. Anna Nicole Smith was found unresponsive on February 8, 2007, in her hotel room at the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Florida. Her bodyguard and his wife, who was a registered emergency nurse, tried to revive her with CPR. Paramedics rushed her to Memorial Regional Hospital in Hollywood, but doctors pronounced her dead. She was only 39. Her sudden death led to an investigation by Broward County Medical Examiner Joshua Perper. He worked with Seminole police and independent forensic experts to determine what happened. The official cause was an accidental overdose. The sedative chloral hydrate was the main drug, but she had also taken 4 benzodiazepines along with diphenhydramine and topiramate. No illegal drugs were found in her system. Methadone, the drug linked to her son's death months earlier, was in her bile, meaning she had likely taken it 2 or 3 days before. So it was not a direct cause. The autopsy also found other health issues. She had abscesses on her skin from past injections of vitamin B12 and human growth hormone. She also had viral enteritis, which may have weakened her. Tests for influenza A and B were negative. One detail made the case even more complicated. Out of the 11 drugs in her system, 8 had been prescribed to Howard K. Stern. 2 others were in the name Alex Katz, and another was for her psychiatrist, Dr. Christine Aroshevich. Perper confirmed that Dr. Aroshevich had written every prescription. Smith's funeral took place on March 2, 2007, in the Bahamas. Her estate became a legal battle. She had signed her will in 2001, years before her daughter was born. It named her son Daniel as the sole beneficiary and made Howard K. Stern the executor. It also specifically excluded any future children. That meant her daughter, Dannielynn, just months old at the time, was left out. Her estate included personal property worth $10,000 and a house valued at $1.8 million, though it had a $1.1 million mortgage. After her death, photographer Larry Birkhead, later confirmed as Dannielynn's father, became involved in the fight over the estate. In 2008, Smith's mother, Virgie Arthur, filed a lawsuit against TMZ, CBS, Entertainment Tonight, and several journalists and bloggers. She claimed they had spread false information to ruin her reputation. She said it hurt her efforts to get custody or visitation rights for her granddaughter. The case became intense when one blogger refused to turn over a computer as evidence and was jailed. But in the end, the lawsuit was dismissed. The court ruled in favor of the media outlets. Dannielynn Birkhead has spent her entire life in the public eye, but she has never let it define her. Born in September 2006 to Anna Nicole Smith and photographer Larry Birkhead, she was just 5 months old when her mother died. The media frenzy that followed could have shaped her entire childhood, but Larry made a decision early on. He would raise his daughter away from Hollywood, away from the chaos, and give her as normal a life as possible. Now, at 18, Dannielynn is stepping into adulthood with confidence, ambition, and a personality that is entirely her own. Her 18th birthday in September 2024 was anything but ordinary. Instead of a traditional celebration, she chose a Beetlejuice-themed party, embracing her love for gothic glam. She wore a spiderweb print dress with dramatic sleeves paired with black lipstick, fully committing to the theme. She posed next to an actor dressed as Beetlejuice, flashing peace signs and showing off her signature playful side. Larry shared his pride in a heartfelt message, writing, "May you continue to be humble and kind. I am immensely proud of you." Though she enjoys the spotlight in her own way, her real focus is on her education. She has set her sights on a double major in forensic science and Japanese studies, a combination inspired by childhood curiosity and high school classes that fueled her interest. She has always been drawn to mystery and problem solving, making forensic science a natural fit. Japanese studies, on the other hand, became a passion after she was introduced to the language and culture in school. Her future plans are still unfolding, but she dreams of making a name for herself outside of her mother's legacy. Creativity runs in her blood, and she has never shied away from expressing herself. She has a talent for acting, earning praise for her performances in school plays. While she once modeled for Guess Kids at age 6 as a tribute to her mother, Larry made sure that was a one-time experience. He has turned down all modeling offers since, choosing to prioritize her childhood over potential fame. Even so, Dannielynn has big dreams of launching her own cosmetics and clothing line, combining her love for fashion with her artistic vision. Despite the unique circumstances of her upbringing, she and Larry have built a life full of adventure and laughter. They have attended concerts together, including a Duran Duran show that became one of their most memorable nights. Halloween is another big tradition for them. Every year they come up with elaborate costume ideas, bringing their creative ideas to life. Amusement parks are another favorite. Dannielynn, always the daredevil, insists on riding roller coasters with no hands. "Do not hold on to me," she tells Larry, making sure he doesn't ruin the thrill. Privacy has always been a priority for Larry, who has taken careful steps to protect his daughter from outside noise. He blocked internet searches on her devices when she was younger and kept her Instagram private. At the same time, he has been open about Anna Nicole's legacy, making sure Dannielynn understands who her mother was beyond the headlines. In a playful twist, Dannielynn has found her own way to keep things lighthearted. She loves trolling her dad by posting unflattering pictures of him online, showing that no matter what, their bond is built on fun and trust. Anna Nicole may have passed away when Dannielynn was just a baby, but her presence is still felt in everyday moments. Butterflies have become a symbol of connection, a small reminder that Anna is always near. A portrait of her mother hangs in Dannielynn's bedroom, a constant piece of her world. In 2025, both she and Larry made it clear that they would not entertain false narratives about Anna's death. When sensationalized media claims resurfaced, they issued a firm statement saying, "We prefer to rely on living credible sources." One of Dannielynn's biggest dreams came true in January 2025 when Hugh Jackman invited her backstage after his Broadway show. She had been a fan of his since she was little, and Larry knew exactly how to make her Christmas special. He surprised her with front-row tickets to Jackman's show and even threw in a life-sized cutout of him as a joke. The plan worked. When she met Jackman in person, she couldn't contain her excitement. A video of the moment went viral as he yin chuzai, hugged her and praised her energy during A Million Dreams, making it an unforgettable night. Through all of this, she has managed to balance the normal teenage experience with the weight of being Anna Nicole Smith's daughter. She goes to amusement parks, keeps up with her forensic science studies, and stays connected with friends through Snapchat. At the same time, she carries a family legacy that the world will always associate with her name. Yet somehow, she remains unfazed. Larry, watching her navigate it all with grace, often finds himself in awe. "Sometimes I'm amazed by the way she handles things," he says.